At exactly 3:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 12th, 2025, every radio telescope on Earth went silent. Not offline, silent. They were still receiving, but what they were receiving made no physical sense whatsoever. For 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the cosmic background radiation, the leftover whisper of the Big Bang that has been constant for 13.8 billion years, just stopped. It didn't fade, it didn't fluctuate, it cut out like someone flipped a switch, and in its place, there was a pattern. Before I tell you what happened next, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from right now? Drop your country or city in the comments. I'm reading them live as we go through this. Now, what I'm about to show you in this video has been verified by 47 separate institutions across 6 continents. The raw data has been released, the recordings exist, and the implications are so profound that 3 separate government agencies have issued statements in the last 72 hours trying to explain it away as equipment malfunction. But here's the problem. You can't have a synchronized equipment malfunction across 200 independent facilities using completely different hardware. That's not how physics works. If you want to stay ahead of this story as new information drops, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to walk you through isn't speculation, it's documented fact. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why the scientific community is quietly losing their minds. The pattern that replaced the cosmic microwave background wasn't random noise. It wasn't interference from a solar flare or a satellite glitch. It was structured. It had layers. And when the data was run through signal processing algorithms, it revealed something that should be impossible. It was a countdown. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand what happened on November 12th and why it might be the most important scientific event in human history, we need to rewind. We need to talk about what we thought we knew about the universe, and we need to talk about the thing that's been hiding in plain sight for decades. Make sure you're subscribed, because this is going to get wild. Let me take you back to 1964. 2 radio astronomers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, were trying to eliminate background noise from a massive horn antenna in New Jersey. No matter what they did, there was this persistent hiss, a microwave signal coming from every direction at once. They thought it was bird droppings on the antenna. I'm not joking. They cleaned it. The signal remained. What they had discovered was the afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, or CMB. It's the oldest light in the universe. It's everywhere. It's constant. It's been humming along at 2.7 Kelvin for nearly 14 billion years. Scientists have studied it with obsessive detail. The Planck satellite mapped it to a resolution that would be like measuring the height of a person to within the width of a single human hair. The CMB is the bedrock of modern cosmology. It's the proof that the universe had a beginning. It's the foundation of everything we know about space and time. And it never changes, ever, until November 12th, 2025. Here's what makes this so strange. The CMB isn't just a signal, it's a property of space itself. It's woven into the fabric of the universe. Blocking it would be like blocking gravity. You can't just turn it off. It's not a radio station. It's the canvas on which reality is painted. So when observatories started reporting the anomaly, the first reaction was denial. It had to be a mistake, a calibration error, a software bug. But then the data started coming in from everywhere. The Atacama Cosmology Telescope in Chile, silent. The South Pole Telescope in Antarctica, silent. The Elofar Array in the Netherlands, silent. The Square Kilometer Array in South Africa, silent. All of them recording the same thing. At exactly 3:47 a.m. Eastern, the CMB disappeared, and something else took its place. Now let's talk about what that something was. The signal wasn't just noise. It had a frequency. It had amplitude modulation. It had what engineers call a carrier wave. Think of it like a radio station broadcasting on a specific channel, but the channel it was broadcasting on didn't make sense. The signal was coming from a wavelength that corresponds to the peak emission of the CMB. It was mimicking the universe's background radiation perfectly, except it wasn't natural. It was artificial. Here's the crucial detail. When scientists isolated the signal and ran it through a Fourier transform, which is a way of breaking down complex waves into their component parts, they found structure, repeating patterns, mathematical sequences, and buried in those sequences was a series of prime numbers. Prime numbers are integers that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. They're considered universal because any intelligent species that develops mathematics will discover them. They're not cultural, they're not arbitrary, they're fundamental. If you wanted to send a message to someone who doesn't speak your language, doesn't share your culture, doesn't even live on your planet, you'd start with prime numbers. It's the universal handshake. It says, I'm intelligent, I understand mathematics, I'm not random. The signal was flashing prime numbers in sequence, over and over, for 11 minutes and 34 seconds. And then it stopped. The CMB came back. Everything returned to normal. Except nothing was normal, because the silence had ended with something else, something that's currently being analyzed in laboratories around the world. A data packet. If you're still with me, hit that like button. It helps push this to more people who need to see it. So what was in the data packet? That's where things get complicated and controversial and, frankly, terrifying. The data packet was approximately 3.7 terabytes. That's the equivalent of about 800,000 photos or 1,000 hours of HD video. It was compressed using an algorithm that we don't fully understand yet. But here's what we do understand. It's a map. The first layer of the data, once decompressed, shows a three-dimensional coordinate system. It's not using Earth's longitude and latitude. It's using galactic coordinates, the kind you'd use if you were navigating between star systems. The map shows our solar system, the sun, the planets, the asteroid belt. Everything is labeled, not in English obviously, but in a symbolic language that uses geometric shapes and mathematical relationships to convey meaning. And here's where it gets unsettling. The map is annotated. There are markers on Earth, hundreds of them, and when researchers cross-reference those markers with actual locations on our planet, they found something chilling. Every single marker corresponds to a place where humans have transmitted radio or television signals into space. Let me break this down. Since the 1930s, we've been leaking radio waves into the cosmos. Every TV show, every radio broadcast, every radar ping has been spreading outward at the speed of light, creating an expanding bubble of human noise around Earth. It's accidental. We weren't trying to communicate, we were just being loud. But someone heard us. The markers on the map aren't random. They're clustered around high-power transmission sites, the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, the Deep Space Network antennas in California, Spain, and Australia, military radar installations, commercial broadcast towers. Whoever sent this map has been listening. They know where we are, they know what we're doing, and they've been watching for a long time. The second layer of the data is even stranger. It's a time series, a chronological record, and when scientists ran the dates through correlation analysis, they realized what they were looking at. It's a log, a record of every major electromagnetic event on Earth for the last 90 years. The first commercial radio broadcast, the first television signal, the nuclear tests in the 40s and 50s, the Apollo moon landing transmissions, the Voyager Golden Record launch, even the Arecibo message we sent toward the globular cluster M13 in 1974. It's all there, documented, time-stamped, archived. This contradicts what we previously thought about our isolation. We thought we were invisible. We thought the universe was empty. We thought that if anyone was out there, they'd be too far away to notice us. We were wrong. But here's the part that's keeping astronomers awake at night, the third layer of the data. It's a projection, a model of Earth's electromagnetic emissions over the next 50 years. It shows where our signals will spread, how far they'll reach, which star systems they'll pass through. And it shows something else, something that doesn't match any known human technology or planned mission. It shows a response trajectory. Think about what this means. Whoever sent this message didn't just say, "We hear you." They said, "We're coming." The trajectory originates from a region of space approximately 47 light-years away. That's the constellation Cygnus, the Swan. It's a busy area, lots of stars, lots of potential planets, and based on the speed indicated in the projection, whatever is following that trajectory will arrive in our solar system in approximately 31 years. I want you to pause and think about that. Right now, something is moving toward us. It's been moving for decades, and it just told us it's on the way. If you want updates on this developing story, make sure you're subscribed. This is not going away. Now let's talk about the official response, because this is where the cognitive dissonance becomes almost painful to watch. NASA issued a statement 18 hours after the event. They called it a temporary instrumental anomaly likely caused by solar weather interference. They suggested that multiple observatories experienced synchronized calibration drift. That explanation lasted about 6 hours before independent physicists started publicly dismantling it. You can't have calibration drift that produces structured data. You can't have solar interference that creates prime number sequences. It's not even a bad explanation, it's a non-explanation. The European Space Agency was more cautious. They acknowledged the anomaly, but said they're still analyzing the data. They haven't confirmed or denied the artificial nature of the signal. But here's what's really interesting. Both agencies quietly activated protocols that were designed for exactly this scenario. Protocols that were written decades ago and have been sitting in drawers waiting. The International Academy of Astronautics has a set of guidelines called the Declaration of Principles Concerning Activities Following the Detection of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It's a roadmap for what to do if we ever receive a message from space. Those protocols are now active, committees are meeting, data is being shared, and governments are being briefed. In the last 48 hours, 3 major observatories have redirected their instruments toward the Cygnus constellation. They're looking for the source. They're looking for anything unusual, any sign of propulsion, any sign of approach. And they're finding something. There's an object. It's faint, it's moving, and its trajectory matches the projection from the data packet. So what does this actually mean? It means we're not alone. It means someone out there has been listening to our radio shows and watching our TV broadcasts and tracking our development for nearly a century. It means they've decided to make contact. But it also means something more unsettling. The signal didn't ask for permission. It didn't request dialogue. It announced arrival. And here's where it gets the final piece of this puzzle, the piece that explains why scientists are quietly terrified even as they're publicly cautious: the countdown.
Remember how I said the signal included a countdown? Let me tell you what it's counting down to. When researchers analyzed the temporal structure of the signal, they found a repeating pulse. It cycles every 1.7 seconds. That pulse is decreasing in frequency, slowing down, like a clock ticking towards zero. They extrapolated the decay rate. They calculated when the pulse would reach zero, when the countdown would end. March 19th, 2056. That's 31 years from now. That's the same time frame as the projected arrival in the data packet. But here's the part that changes everything. The countdown isn't measuring distance, it's measuring something else. When scientists looked at the wavelength of the pulse and compared it to known physical constants, they realized what it represents. It's a redshift measurement. It's tracking the Doppler effect of an approaching object. You know how a siren sounds higher pitched as it approaches you and lower pitched as it moves away? That's the Doppler effect. Light does the same thing. If something is moving toward you, its light shifts toward the blue end of the spectrum. If it's moving away, it shifts toward red. The countdown pulse is tracking the blue shift of an incoming object, and the rate of change tells us its velocity. It's moving at approximately 4.7% the speed of light. That's unimaginably fast. That's thousands of times faster than our fastest spacecraft. That's a speed that requires technology we don't have, technology that bends the rules of physics as we understand them. And it's aimed directly at us. This is the moment where I need to be very clear. The object is not a threat in the sense of collision. The trajectory doesn't intersect Earth. It's heading toward the outer solar system, toward the orbit of Jupiter. But that doesn't mean it's benign. If Avi Loeb were commenting on this, and he has been, he'd say this looks exactly like a probe mission, a reconnaissance flight. The object isn't coming to crash into us, it's coming to observe us, to study us, to collect data. And based on the map, based on the annotations, based on the 90-year archive of our transmissions, it's coming because we invited it. We've been broadcasting our existence into the void for nearly a century. We've been shouting into the dark. And something heard us, and something decided to respond, and something is now on the way. The countdown isn't a warning, it's an itinerary. It's a scheduled appointment that we didn't know we made. Here's the crucial detail that I've been building toward. The signal that occurred on November 12th wasn't the first communication. It was a reminder. When researchers went back through archived data, decades of recordings, they found something. The same signal, much weaker, appeared in radio telescope data from 1974. That's the same year we sent the Arecibo message toward M13. We sent a message that included information about Earth, about humanity, about our biology and chemistry. We sent it intentionally. We sent it as a greeting. And 51 years later, we got a reply. Not from M13, that's 25,000 light-years away. The reply would take 50,000 years. This reply came from somewhere much closer, somewhere that was already listening. The Cygnus object didn't just hear our recent broadcasts, it heard the Arecibo message, and it responded by saying, "Message received. We're on our way." What does this actually mean for us, for humanity? It means the next 31 years are going to be the most important in human history. It means we need to prepare, not for invasion, not for war, but for contact, for dialogue, for the possibility that we are about to meet someone else, and we need to decide who we want to be when they arrive. I want to ask you a question. If you could send one sentence back to whoever is coming, what would you say? Would you say welcome? Would you ask them to stay away? Would you ask them why? Leave your message in the comments. I'm reading them all. The countdown is ticking. The object is approaching. And in 2056, we're going to find out what happens when you shout into the void and something shouts back. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that like button. It helps push scientific content to more people. Make sure you're subscribed, because this story is just beginning, and we're going to cover every single development, every new data point, every discovery, as we count down to March 19th, 2056. Until next time, keep looking up, but remember, something might be looking back.